the internet is constantly changing, and the latest version of the internet is coming to be known as Web 3. What's Web 3, you might ask? Well, the easiest way to describe it is in terms of Web 1 and Web 2. Web 1 was the basic internet as we all know it, where the internet is basically a repository of information, so that each website is a discrete thing in its own right, almost like going to a library and opening a book with pages. Web 2 is a slightly more interactive version where people could go to the websites, some websites, and leave reviews or write blogs. Web 3 is where the internet starts to interact itself. Websites interact with each other on your behalf. And it's based upon the latest technology. So it's based upon artificial intelligence. It's based upon something called the semantic web, which is semantic search. And all that means is understanding the context behind search terms. It's based upon augmented and virtual reality. And it's also based upon the Internet of Things. Why is it important that websites should be able to interact with each other? Well, let me give an example of how it would be useful. Say in the past you wanted to book an appointment, you could leave an appointment on your calendar, for example, and all you'd get is maybe other people could see it if you'd allowed access to it, and it would give you, a warning to remind you, when the appointment was due. But with Web 3, that same appointment would then also be able to check the best route for you to take to your appointment. It would also look at the traffic conditions and say you need to leave half an hour earlier in terms of your reminder. It might also look to pay any tolls for you. It might also look for parking. Now, to do all of that, you need to make sure that your website is up to date, and it has to have something called structured data. Structured data needs to be embedded in your website if you are to use Web 3, and the best form of structured data is something called schema. So if you have a website, make sure that you use embedded structured data and get the full benefits of Web 3.